Shalom Uvracha. With your consent, we would like to study the weekly Torah section of Devarim, which is the name of the first section of the fifth book of Moses. The entire book is called Devarim, and the first Parshat is also called Devarim. The second word of this first sentence is Ela HaDevarim, the book of Deuteronomy. I would like to focus on sentence 5 of the first chapter, where we read about how Moshe began explaining the Torah to the people. Be'ever HaYarden be'eretz Moab, in Transjordan, Ho'il Moses began Be'er et HaTorah Hazot. He began explaining the Torah. Now, Rashi, probably the greatest, if not maybe the most outstanding commentary that we have on Torah, Rashi, based on early rabbinic sources, based on the Midrash, Rashi says, what does it mean, Be'er et HaTorah? He explained the Torah. What kind of explanation did Moshe give to the Torah? Says Rashi, B'shiv'im lashon perishah lahem. He explained the Torah in 70 languages. He explained the Torah. There's the people entering Israel before they entered the land. He explains the Torah to them in 70 languages. Later on, also in the book of Deuteronomy, in the 27th chapter, if you're interested, it's in Parshat Ki Tavo, Perek Kav Zayin Pasuk Het. The Torah speaks about the obligation of writing the Torah on certain specially designated stones. V'chatafta al ha'avanim et kol divrei haTorah hazot ba'er heitev. You shall write the Torah clearly explaining it with careful explanation. The rabbis teach in Masechet Sotah. Rashi quotes it again. What does it mean, ba'er heitev? Write it in a way that's explained. B'shiv'im lashon, in 70 languages. So the question is, what is the nature of the 70 languages? What are we writing 70 languages? We write the Torah in 70 languages? The author of the great commentary, Haktav HaKabbalah, his name is Rav Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg, raises the following question. Did the Jewish people at the time of Moshe really speak 70 languages? Ho'il Moshe be'eret HaTorah hazot b'shivim lashon? So he says that Shiv'im Lashon, 70 languages, does not necessarily mean language the way we understand language in a sense of philology, in a sense of analysis of different kinds of language skills. He says Shiv'im Lashon can mean 70 different ways of understanding Torah. Ein hakavana al shonot sha'ara. I mean, it doesn't mean language. Even rather, Shivim Lashon Rutze Lomar B'Shivim Kavanot, with 70 different modes of interpretation. As the rabbis teach, we have a concept of Shivim Panim La Torah, which roughly translated means the 70 different faces of Torah, many different ways. So maybe Moshe didn't explain it to them in one dimension. He explained it to them in a multi-dimensional way, 70 different ways. Maybe there are many different ways of understanding every sentence of Torah. According to Haktav HaKabbalah, when it says that, when Rashi teaches, when the Midrash teaches, that there was a Shivim Lashon explanation, it means multifaceted levels of reading. And of course, anyone who's ever studied Torah knows that you don't just read the Torah one way. There are many ways of reading the Torah. If we would go around the room, each person here reads the Torah in a different way. What motivated Rashi to say this? Why can't you just say, Moshe, explain the Torah? What do you have to eat? Shivim Lashon? So I read in one interpretation, a super commentary, maybe wants to say that, there were commentaries on Rashi, that maybe Rashi was forced to learn in the Midrashic way. Rashi is a Pashtan. He generally seeks to find the regular meaning of it. What is he going to Midrashic literature for? Be'er Torah means Moshe explained the Torah, Why do you need to go to 70 languages when you're talking about explanation? But maybe what bothered Rashi was, we have a book in this house somewhere called What's Bothering Rashi? Some say, what do you mean, Ho'il Moshe? Ho'il Moshe be'er et Torah? Moshe began his explanation of Torah now? This is the end of Moshe's life. For 40 years, he's been explaining Torah to the people. They received the Torah for 40 years ago. Now, the word Ho'il. Rashi says Ho'il means Hitchil. Ho'il means he began. That's the way it's translated. Almost all translated. Moshe began explaining the Torah now. They were learning Torah for 40 years. So maybe it doesn't mean, explaining the Torah. It means that he explained a new level of Torah, new levels of Torah. He now decided that he's going to teach it to them in a multifaceted way. Maybe that's what made Rashi learn Shivim Lashon.
Very fast, because he did it in 37 days, apparently.
You mean the whole
37
Torah?
Days before
from Rosh Chodesh Shabbat till he leaves this world, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. I think that the word Eila had the first word of the Parshat is numerically equivalent to 36. So maybe they hit 36 days, right, from Eila till Zayin Adar. Maybe that's the yes. However, I also read an interpretation of the author of the Ketav Sofer, as well as the Ger Rebbe in his writings Chidushei Harim. They teach another way of understanding the importance of the 70 languages. According to them, Moshe wanted to have the Torah written and understood in 70 languages as a symbolic level of teaching that Torah applies to each and every Jew in each and every society, regardless of what language you're speaking, regardless of which society you're part of, regardless of wherever you are. Shivim Lashon. No matter what is the language of the country of your origin, we are connected to Torah. Don't feel disconnected if you're speaking one of the many languages of the world. It already somehow is included in the teachings of the Torah of Moshe, because Moshe, Ho'il Moshe, Be'er, he explained it already in 70 languages. So maybe some people, God forbid, would feel alienated from Torah because they don't read the original text and they don't understand the original text. Maybe they're speaking in languages which are very foreign from Hebrew. Maybe, according to the Ger Rebbe, Moshe wanted to include the totality of the expression of the 70 languages, to include those people as well. I remember in Yeshiva Torah Vadat, only those who appreciate yeshivish jokes will understand this joke, but in Torah Vadat, as we would prepare to go for summer vacation, living in New York, so many of us would spend our summers upstate New York, in what was called the mountains. So I remember some of the Rabbanim in the yeshiva, lovingly, before summer vacation, would tell us, I think in the name of the Bava Rebbe, maybe, you know why God gave the Torah on a mountain? In order to teach you that even in the mountains, you have to keep the Torah. That was the line that we left the yeshiva with each year. So maybe you have to have the 70 languages, so that that the all-inclusive explanation. However, I would like to suggest that maybe the mystery of the need for these 70 languages is connected to a concept that I saw discussed both in a work of Rav Ben Zion Führer as well as by Rav Yoel Schwartz, who teach the following teaching: that maybe there's an aspect of the 70 languages not necessarily for ourselves. Maybe as a nation we're obligated to share the positive messages of the Torah with the whole world. Yes. So maybe it's a charge for us to properly disseminate many of the messages of Torah to all of humanity. Yes, there may be restrictions, but Be'er Heitev Shivim Lashon. Maybe that's also part of what we're supposed to be about. If you want, you could look in the responsa of the Rambam, responsa number 149, in the Blau edition of Rambam's Tshuvot. Maimonides is asked about teaching Torah to the Gentile world. And he speaks there of the great value of sharing the true teachings of Torah with those who have some level of connection to the Bible, but do not properly understand it. Surely, part of our obligation is to be concerned with the perfection of the entire world, or at least on the level of the 7 Noahide commandments. As Rambam writes, Maimonides writes, in the Laws of Malachim in the 8th chapter, Chen tziva Moshe Rabbeinu mipi hagvura lachof et kol ba'ei ha'olam lekabel mitzvot shenitztavu b'nei Noach. In the merit of the 70 languages of Torah, may we experience this very evening the fulfillment of the words of Isaiah, Yeshayahu Yud Aleph, Ki mala'a ha'aretz de'ah et Hashem, kamayim layam mechasim. The entire world will be filled with the knowledge of God. We hope that this evening, as we study the words of Moshe, the teachings of how Moshe brought the word of God in 70 languages, the earth shall be full of the knowledge of God as the waters cover the sea. Thank you so much for listening. Shalom.